It's so exciting that you're all here. Thank you for joining us. We're very, very excited to have you all come and join us for this awesome presentation. My name is Matthew Failor, and I'm the current president of the OSU Alumni Club of Ashland County. This club is so excited to bring you this event, and it's finally here. So the OSU Alumni Club is an actually old but relatively young club. We rechartered in early 2019, and our very first event was an evening with Matthew Failor. It was in Ashland, Ohio, and it was a great success. People came in from all over the state. Tonight, we're following that event up with him called Catching Up with Matthew Failor. See what's happening in the last 2 years, and we couldn't actually be more pleased again with this turnout, not just because of all the people from Ohio that are joining in and the people from all around the country, but we have people from around the world too. Australia, the UK, just really cool. Before I introduce our guest, I do want to give an update and some information on tonight's format. This is going to be an interactive event with most of the evening being devoted to Q&A. When we begin that part of the night, your Q&A feature will be enabled, so please send in some questions. Also, originally we had planned to take you on a live sled ride, but because Matt's in Alaska, the internet is a little sketchy. And so we went ahead and recorded, or Matthew did, record a ride for you. We're gonna try to play that, but because the internet is a little sketchy, the video could be choppy. If anyone feels like they're getting car sick, go ahead and look away. It's a 9-minute video, so you can come back when we begin then after with the Q&A section. If the video won't play, please don't fret. We will email you a link to that video through the email address with which you registered. Okay, so let me get out of here. Let me bring my brother on. I'm super excited. Tonight's guest, Matthew Failor, is a 2007 graduate of The Ohio State University with a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Photography. He's an Eagle Scout, an Iditarod and Yukon Quest finisher, as well as a 2019 champion of the Kuskokwim 300. He's raced in every Iditarod since 2012, coming into known by Dog Team in every race but 2020, when he came in by Black Hawk helicopter. It's the OSU Alumni Club of Ashland County's pleasure to host this event and introduce Matthew Failor.
Hey everybody, thank you, Katie. A nice introduction. Good job. So I'd like to say thank you for joining us. Again, my name is Matthew and I'm here with my wife, Liz.
Hi.
And we are at our home in Willow, Alaska. We've got a few of the dogs inside with us. And
this is Motorhead right here, this guy.
Yeah, this is Motorhead.
Hi.
And then maybe, just maybe, you can see Pantera, Vocal. And here's Mama Vocal. And then Cool Cat, of course, is down here at my feet too, or our feet. So again, we'd just like to thank you for setting aside some time to go on this Zoom with us. It's great catching up with everybody. And I'm just really honored that people are interested in our lifestyle and the dogs. So we're gonna kind of let you know what's been happening over the last couple of years since I was able to talk to you guys back home in Ohio in Ashland. So before we start, we have a little slideshow. Oh, wow, this is great. You guys are already asking, hey, Luke, hey, Ari, and my cousin Rob, you guys are the best. I'll answer your questions, I promise. Maybe we should just start the slide. Huh?
Sure.
What do you think?
Yeah,
I'm so nervous.
Let's just jump right into it. Bear with us. We're going to share our screen with you.
So just take a moment.
Great.
Okay, before we start, Katie, can you see that? You're probably muted, but.
We can see it, Matt. I can see it.
Thank you. Okay, so as you all know, most of you know, Our kennel name is called 17th Dog, which is a reference to the days of old when in the Iditarod you were allowed to take 16 dogs. Nowadays they changed the rule to 14 dogs, but we wanted our kennel name to be called 17th Dog, not because Liz or I are the 17th dog, but because our fans, our boosters, our friends, our sponsors are the 17th dog. So it's a way for us to kind of say thank you and give back to those people that have helped us become successful and continue to do this. So it's just a tribute and a thanks to our supporters who are the 17th dog. We will not be changing our name to 15th Dog just because the Iditarod changed the rules to 14 dogs. So on the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see a few images. Up on the left is we go mushing up in the mountains of Hatcher Pass. We're really located close to the mountains of Hatcher Pass, just a 45-minute drive up. And in the springtime, we can take the dogs up there and go mush on the road, which is blocked off to cars because of the high volume of snow. So it turns into a natural trail for the dogs. So we actually will truck the dogs up there and go sledding. And actually we take tourists up there now, which is super cool because you can see all the way down the valley. In the middle is a photo of Liz, myself, and Pink Floyd. Floyd is happily sandwiched between both of us. And you can see Motorhead back there and Fable and Premier. So that's also a photo up in Hatcher Pass. And then down at the bottom, those are the cutest cuddly puppies in the world. That is our alphabet litter. And that was just taken this last summer.
Yeah, and you can see Mama Vocal right there behind him. She's in the photo too.
And those are my parents, Mr. and Mrs. Failor. And they're obviously #1 supporters of us. Okay. So the last time we've seen each other was 2018. We finished the Iditarod, and that is a picture of my mom, dad, and I in Nome underneath the burled arch. And that was our best finish for the Iditarod to date, 13th place. We just missed squeaking into the top 10. That was a very important year for me. I met my wife now. I met Liz that year at the banquet, the pre-race banquet, and that is her down in the right-hand corner with her Channel 11 team. And so I met her there. Actually, that photo that night, that's at the banquet. And several of the people in that photo have become really good friends of mine through Liz. And so that was a big moment. I got to see Liz right before I went up on stage, and I said, "Oh my goodness, I have to go introduce myself to her." And little did I know, a couple years later we would be married. I'll tell you more about that in a little bit. Do you want to expand upon that?
No, that's good.
Okay. So we race not only in the Iditarod, but the Kuskokwim 300, which is a premier mid-distance race here in Alaska. That is out in Bethel on the West Coast. And we won that race 2 years ago in 2019. And Premier and Heisman are pictured there. Premier is rubbing his little frosty face on my shoulder, and Heisman is the brown one with the frost all over his chin. That was a huge moment for us because it gave us a lot of confidence and realized that we could not only win a race, but we could compete with the best mushers in the world. Jeff King was in that race. Of course, Pete Kaiser, the defending 4-time Cusco champion, eventual Iditarod champion. I guess the cherry on top of that race, not only did we win, but there was a 25-year speed record that was held by Martin Boozer, who is my mentor, the guy that I learned from. Well, we broke that with that win. We broke his speed record. So it was, I didn't realize that was going to happen. I wasn't trying to, we weren't trying to, it was just a very speedy trail, very fast trail, and the dogs answered it, and we broke that record by about 30 minutes. So we're going to be heading back to that race in about 19 days.
Would have normally been there this past weekend, but it got rescheduled because of COVID.
Yeah, due to COVID, they kind of pushed it back now that everybody in the Bethel community are trying to get their vaccine. So hopefully that race will take place in a couple weeks. So that was 2019. And we'll just kind of talk a little bit about the dog kennel. if you have questions, you can type them in. We'll answer them later, but just kind of think of some. This is a picture during the summer. Liz, when Liz and I started dating, she was still working for Channel 11, which is the CBS affiliate here in Anchorage, or at the time it was. It's no longer. But she did some remote work. We had a lot of wildfires, forest fires in our area here in Willow, about 70 miles north of Anchorage. And so she would come up and have to report on some of these fires. And I thought it was fun to get her out of the house one day. She was inside, where the internet was. And I said, well, we can figure this out. So we ran a large extension cord and propped up an old chair out there for her. And of course, some of the dogs came over and naturally started laying at her feet, just like they would do at the kitchen table. So this is Liz working outside.
Best office in Alaska.
Yeah. Another couple good photos. On the left there is Espy, the blonde dog with the floppy ears. And she has finished the Cusco 3 years in a row. Many times since she finished Iditarod. Off my left elbow, the viewer's right, you'll see Sean White, the father of Espy. You can just barely see him off my elbow there. And then Banshee, crowd favorite, Miss Banshee. She's kind of an unsung hero. She's finished every race she's ever been in. In the swimming pool, that's in the middle of summer. That's Bon Jovi. Bon Jovi taking a bath. After we run the dogs on tour, we can turn them loose, and they love getting in the swimming pool to cool down. And then who doesn't love a pile full of puppies? That's Liz actually in the doghouse.
I was in the doghouse that day.
That's Liz in the doghouse with the car litter. So that's a couple years ago now, almost 2 years ago, year and a half. They're now adult dogs. But that's a big part of it, is just being with the puppies and making that bond. They're all over her. That's pretty cool. And so this 17th dog is not only, it's not only about the sled dogs, and it's not only about our boosters and fans, but we have to pay props to Casey and Dane and all the folks that have helped us get to this point. I mean, we've got amazing people that have helped us. Sam Martin and Michael Baker and Tim Pappas and May Huntley. We usually try to take on one handler per year, and we can house them here on the property. This year we wanted to have two, so we brought on Dane. Ironically enough, both of these good friends are from Michigan. I know. Hold your breath, my Ohio State folks. They are just think of them as Big Ten family members. So they're from that state up north. But Casey has been a huge help. This is her third year, pictured with Mama Vocal, and Dane pictured with Foxy. Not only do you have to exercise the dogs, but there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes. Dane is massaging Foxy Brown, massaging her front shoulders. After one training run, noticed that Foxy was a little stiff, so we stretch them to try to figure out where that stiffness is at. And you can stretch their biceps and their triceps, and if they give you a reaction, then you can pinpoint where it's at. And so we've got all kinds of massage oils, so that's what he's doing there. So it's a huge part of our operation is Dane and Casey. And we're really thankful to have them. This is just a slide from last Iditarod. On the right-hand side, that is most of our team kind of that was able to go to the banquet, the pre-race banquet. So this is now 1 year after I met Liz, and she's pictured center in there with my mother in the light blue. And she was actually working. She was reporting for Channel 11 that night as well. So we've got lots of people in that photo that are huge family members and huge supporters of our team. Jill and Mark Wilson. I mean, there's Father Randy, who is a priest back from my old high school. We've got Gene and Joe. I mean, just my brother Pat. Everybody's in there. So it's really neat to have such a great group of people want to see us succeed, and we couldn't do it without any of them. And then pictured in the upper left-hand corner, that's Hellhound and Miss Cool Cat in lead with Mr. Cutney and Mr. Cutney's girlfriend Judy. And so we gave them a ride maybe a couple weeks ago. So that's a very current photo. And Judy's daughter came up, and so we got to actually take them out on our trails, which is awesome.
Yeah, very cool.
So it's kind of speeding up now. This was last Cusco. So this is in Bethel in January last year. I'm sure some of you already know about this, but I'll refresh your memories because it was a huge life moment for me. I knew Liz was the lady for me and I wanted to marry her. And so I was trying to figure out a unique and fun way to propose to her. And what better way to do it than in Bethel at the end of the Kuskokwim 300. So this is at the finish line down on the river, just 100 yards from their village center. And I was battling it out. We were battling it out with Richie Deal, one of my good friends. He was in third place and I was in second place, and we were literally neck and neck. I could just see him right behind me. I could reach out and touch his lead dogs. And so we were running like 50 miles like that. And I didn't know if we were able to hold him off, but we were trying to catch Pete Kaiser, the eventual winner of that year. And the whole time I knew I had my ring in my chest pocket that I was going to eventually pull out and propose to Liz. The fun little side note, she was there obviously for the start of the race, and I went to get all my gear on for the race. And I have all kinds of stuff that can't freeze. So I have everything like in my pockets of my long underwear, contact solution, extra contacts, toothpaste, massage oils for the dogs. And then I had this ring box in my chest pocket that kind of stuck out and was very noticeable. And I thought she might notice it, which she did, but she had no idea what it was. She thought it was a battery for my headlamp. And I remember giving her a hug before the race, and I thought, I wonder if she feels that, pokey box. But
I was so clueless.
So on the way, when I was battling Richie for that last 50 miles, probably took 6 hours to get to the finish line. At one point, I had to reach up under my parka and pull the ring box out and put it in a different pocket so I could not awkwardly reach up for that thing when I wanted to propose to her. So at some point, I pulled the ring box out and put it in my right hand pocket, and I failed to zip the pocket shut. So I didn't know that it was subject to falling out at all until I knelt down with the leaders, and of course Liz was there, and then I reached in to grab that ring, and that's when I realized the zipper was all the way down. So it could have easily just bounced out, which I'm very thankful that it did not. So end of the story, she said yes. Heisman and FIFA were in lead, and I was trying to get them over there, but they kept sniffing around for snacks. We had just given them some snacks on the ground. So that was a great moment. And there was a big crowd there, and they all cheered, and it was just really neat to kind of share that with those people out there.
And I know Matthew really, really wanted to be in first place of the race. It was kind of, he was trying so hard to win, but, I actually thought it was better that he got second place. So when people congratulated him, I knew it was because of the proposal and not because of the win.
Second place, it doesn't matter. We're first place in our hearts. Huh?
Yes, first place in my heart.
So that was a big moment, and we're excited, And so then, with COVID, so that was January. COVID was not really around yet, although there were isolated cases popping up, but it was really not big at all. So we started right after Iditarod, we kind of started planning, or maybe we started planning beforehand, but either way, we said, you know what, we don't want to wait. We want to get married, and we're not going to let life dictate our life. We're not going to let COVID dictate our life. So we said, if some people can make it, they can make it. We'll hold it outside. We'll do the proper, safety measures. But if people can't make it, that's okay. And so 6 months later, we got married this summer. And of course, all the dogs were involved. Somehow the New York Times heard about it, and we were very flattered. They sent a New York Times photographer and reporter, and that was a big deal for us. It was really, really cool. But once Liz and I tied the knot, we jumped on this Just Married dog sled, and we had 6 dogs pull us around our trails, and it was just a really special day. We were super pumped that our family could come, and it was going to rain that morning, and then it was it was cloudy and overcast, and it just slowly burnt off and the sun came out. And so it was a great day.
Awesome day. Yeah, we love that we did it here at the kennel. So all the dogs, I had a dog of honor, Miss Cool Cat, and Matt had a best dog, Mr. Sean White, that accompanied us.
Yeah, a lot of people, maybe when they follow us, they'll tune in, during the race season, during Iditarod or the Cusco, but it's really a life with dogs. The dogs are centered right in the middle of what we do every day, from our business to the race to just playing and having fun. And we're really happy that we were able to build a life with dogs, but most importantly, the Alaskan Husky. So that's Heisman and SB underneath us there, beneath us kissing at the finish of our little dog sled just married run. And that's Tango and looks like Whiskey when they were puppies. Now they're 7 months old. And so with COVID and just the way things are evolving, unfortunately, Liz's job at KTVA Channel 11, they merged. They kind of sold to Channel 2, and some folks lost their jobs. Some folks had to take a different job, and there were no openings for Liz with an anchor position. And so she decided to kind of take a step back. And at that time, it kind of forced our hand in a good way.
Yeah, we decided maybe we could build a life together as business partners as well with the dogs, and be able to work full time here at the kennel, offering tours and events. Previously, Matt had operated tours, but for other businesses. And so we decided to team up to try to offer tours under our own name. And so we launched in November as Alaskan Husky Adventures.
Yeah, so this all has happened really fast, but we're trying to make the most of it. And although Liz never really saw herself as a professional dog musher, she had high hopes of kind of moving up the media ladder and moving on to a bigger market, which she easily could have. But she chose to stay here with me and our dogs, and we're really happy.
And this is so much better.
We scoop a lot of dog poop, but it's the best dog poop in the world.
It's so worth it. The dogs make it so worth it.
So these are a couple of our first guests, and of course, with COVID, we were really concerned, but we're just making the most of it. So that's Black Sabbath and Cool Cat there. And we're getting a lot of people from the state. That's really what it boils down to, is a lot of in-state travelers. And then anyone that does come, they're tested, and some of them are tested beforehand and once they arrive in Anchorage. But we're hoping once the world, or once we can get a handle on this, that life will resume, because tourism is a huge part of Alaska's economy.
Welcome to Willow. Just a short drive from Anchorage, it's the mushing capital of the world and the home of our champion Huskies. Learn what it takes to train a competitive Iditarod dog team. Drive your own sled or ride with an experienced guide. Catch Denali views from our private trails. Play with puppies. And make lifelong memories. Are you ready for an adventure? Book yours today. Alaskan Husky Adventures, akhusky.dog.
Oh, a shameless plug. Sorry, that's what we do now. Alaskan Husky Adventures is a big deal. We love sharing the sport with people, and so if some are adventurous enough, we'll actually let them take our own dogs out there, 2 or 3 or 4 dogs, depending on their skill level, or we'll just take them out and mush with a guide, with Casey or I or Dane.
Yeah, it's pretty neat to be able to share the dogs with visitors, and especially the sport of mushing.
So that kind of wraps up our little presentation, I guess. A big part of our, I think we'll roll right into this one. A big part of having you all kind of join in this, we wanted to take you on a virtual ride, and this portion of our presentation is the virtual ride. I filmed this just a couple days ago, and this is our basically our backyard trails, and they are public trails. I explain what's happening. It's about a 9-minute video. And so it's just kind of raw and unedited 9 minutes of uninterrupted training. And so this team will hopefully go on the Iditarod with us, and yeah, just kind of, follow along. And it's pretty cute. I stop the sled and introduce all the dogs, and we get in a little tangle. So I explain a lot of what's going on in the video.
Everybody, welcome to our virtual dog ride today. The Ohio State University Ashland Club of Ashland County. My name is Matthew Failor, and I'd like to welcome everybody on Zoom, everybody that's part of the Ohio State University, and anyone watching from all over. Hopefully we get a few people to tune in and get to see our awesome sled dogs. Currently we are mushing a 14-dog team out here in Willow, which is about 70 miles north of Anchorage. We're on public trails. This is a public trail system that's maintained mostly by the people that live in this area. It's open for all trail users, so not only dog mushers, professional and recreational, but we have snow machiners, professional and recreational. We actually have a lot of snow machine races, so people will train up here on the trails. Obviously a lot of people just kind of having fun using snow machines, and we'll get people cross-country skiing, people snowshoeing. We will get actually people out here on bicycles in Alaska, and some beach communities. You'll find people using what we call fat tire bikes, tires that have slightly wider tires so they can stay kind of on top of the snow or the sand. So we'll see quite a few people out here on the trails usually. And we'll just kind of move around them and teach the dogs to overtake or stop and let other trail users go past us. In a minute I'll stop and introduce the team, but I'd just like to thank everybody for tuning in. This is a typical training run for us. We usually take out a team of 10, 12, 14, sometimes bigger teams of 16 or 18 or even 20, but today we're just doing 14. In about 1 month, our dogs will be on a 300-mile race out in Bethel called the Husky 300. And we're pretty excited to go back to that race. This will be our 4th in a row, 5 overall racing in that. The dogs lived over here. Sometimes you'll see a moose. Our lead dogs today are ESPY, she's on the right side, and SEISMIC. Try not to say their names unless we really want to talk to them, because they do turn around, so I don't want to call out their name and have them look back and kind of mess them up. I want to keep them in their groove. ESPY, the blonde female on the right, she's been a big part of our Kuskokwim championship a couple of years ago. So she's finished the last 3, 2nd place, 1st place, and 5th place, and she's finished a bunch of Iditarods. So we're gonna go to the left up here. There you go, good. As you can see, the trail kind of opens up. We can go to the left or to the right. This is a huge swamp. In the summertime, this is all wet and kind of unusable unless you have a certain type of 4-wheeler that can run out here. This is a very wet, swampy bog. Perfect for dog mushing in the wintertime. the trail goes all the way around the edge. It's probably a 10-mile loop, and this is just one of thousands of swamps like this where we have trails everywhere. It's really not that cold out. It's probably maybe 10 degrees. I don't even have my gloves on. Hands are starting to get a little chilly, but 10 degrees. The dogs are wearing booties on their feet. Most of the time we'll use booties just as a preventative measure to make sure the snow doesn't become abrasive over time. Why don't we come to a stop and we'll let the dogs cool down and I'll introduce you to them. Go ahead and push on here. Oh. And I take my parking brake, which is just a big old snow hook, and stick that in the ground. We never go behind the sled because sometimes they'll pull that out of the ground and you'll literally be abandoned. Okay, stay. So this is a pretty inexperienced front end. As you can see, they're already getting all tangled up. But since we train our own, we can just turn them loose. We do this a lot, where we just turn the dogs loose, and then I can safely untangle everything. So this red boy right there, his name is Seismic. Hey, dude, and that's SB. Seismic is going to be hopefully getting his second Iditarod with us this year. He went with Casey Murringer last year on the puppy team. Hey, buddy. Okay, Espy, come here, girl. Espy. Good girl. Stay, Seismic, stay. Okay, come here. Okay, so we're at 6 minutes. So that's Espy and Seismic. He is rolling around in the snow to actually cool off. Believe it or not, it's warm. They love rolling in the snow. So Espy and Seismic. Good girl. This is Ballad. Hey. And that's Saga. What are you doing down there? Ballad and Saga. There's Heisman. And that is Van Halen. Motorhead. One of the more talkative dudes, Motorhead. And that is Odyssey. Hey, Odyssey, so proud. These guys here, two brothers. This is Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin. Stay. Seismic, stay. Good boy. Gotta make sure I watch the young guy. Come here, line out. Okay, stay. Good boy. All right. And we got these two beautiful dogs. This is Banshee and Lord Stanley. And here is Iron Maiden and Mr. Lombardi. And we're running an old sled. This is actually a wooden sled. It has wood runners. Most of the sleds nowadays are made out of aluminum. It actually has wood stanchions. A lot of sleds have carbon fiber, plastic. You want to get going? Okay, I better give them what they want. We always communicate to them. Go ahead and pull that off. Ready? All right. Okay. We're going to go to the right. Gee. There you go. Good boy. See him playing with her. This is a trail marker. Lots of people use tripods. The traditional trail marker that just looks like a yardstick with reflectors and tape. I'd like to thank you guys for tuning in. We will begin with a Q&A soon. Obviously this is pre-recorded because I couldn't live stream it out here, but I'd just like to thank everyone for the interest in our sled dog team, and
we love what we do, and we're excited to showcase it with the rest of the world. So enjoy today, and thanks for tuning in.
Okay, so that is our little virtual ride. Hopefully it wasn't too choppy, but we're gonna welcome my sister Katie back in and take it away.
Yeah, that actually played better than we thought it would. It was a worry for us whether that video would play. So that was great. And we have a whole lot of questions. I'm going to combine some because they seem to run similar. So we had some send in with the registration, and it looks like we have 27 in the Q&A. So I don't know if we'll get to all of them, but we're going to try. So let's start. First, Carly Cunningham asks, is there any advice on how someone can gain experience in being a kennel hand, like a kennel guide or a kennel hand, especially when coming from a location that is more highly focused in sprint racing with smaller numbers of dogs? That's a good question.
Yeah, that is a good question, Carly. And I guess to answer it, I would need a little more information to give you a specific answer. Hey, Margaret. Usually when people want to know more about how to become a guide with a distance kennel, I'm assuming that's what she's asking. You can always go to sleddogcentral.com. That's a great way for dog mushers to try to look for guides or helpers or handlers. So sleddogcentral.com, although this person probably already knows about that, but I wouldn't be too concerned about moving from sprint to distance. The dogs are super versatile. It's really similar. You just have to do right by your dogs and put their needs before yours. And everything's pre-translatable. Of course, speeds are different. The breed slightly is different, but if people have a hard work ethic and they love dogs, it's pretty easy to switch. And if that doesn't answer your question, you can always email us directly, and I can give you a specific answer.
Yeah. Okay. So Stacy, we know Stacy. We love Stacy. She says, how adaptable are the dogs in different weather patterns on the race trails? For example, wet snow versus dry snow, fresh snow, melting ice, solid ice when it gets above 33 degrees. So yeah, how adaptable are they?
More so than myself and more so than us. Dogs are really tough, especially this breed, the Alaskan Husky, due to the genetics and due to the fact that and people before us have been breeding for, tough, good workers. They can switch pretty effortlessly from hour to hour or day to day during Iditarod, going from dry 30 below snow to the next day wet and soft snow. Of course, we specifically train in different conditions, and we travel across the state to get the dogs ready so their muscles know what it feels like to lift their feet up off the ground while they're running. You might not think about it, but if you're a distance runner and you want to participate in your first foot race, and if it's on the beach, you probably don't want to train on asphalt. You want to train in the beach so your muscles get used to running through the sand. On Iditarod, it's 1,000 miles. We have to train in all kinds of different conditions, and that's obviously limited to if we can get to those conditions. So we just make sure we try to set aside a lot of time to go find flat river sections, and we go up in the mountains in deep snow. If it's windy, we'll go out late at night and run through the deep snow. And I'm not worried about the dogs because if they're with us, then they're having a good day. I mean, it doesn't really matter what kind of conditions you're in. They're so strong.
I've heard you say before that you're probably the weakest link, and I'm not calling you weak. I'm just saying.
Yeah, hands down. I mean, anybody that owns a dog, part of the reason why we love dogs is because they're just like, yeah, whatever, it's cool. Well, they're just happy to do whatever you're doing, and they're happy to be with us. So.
Right. Okay. So Caitlin Crone says, this was actually a question that's also in the Q&A chat box. How has the modified 2021 Iditarod route changed your race planning and training? Excuse me.
So for those of you that don't know, yeah, the Iditarod, good question, Caitlin. The Iditarod is modified, and it's going to go here in Willow all the way to the town of Iditarod, which is normal. The start is going to not be on the traditional Willow Lake. So we're going to start a couple miles north on a boat launch. And it's still accessible in the wintertime. People drive their snow machines down it. So we're going to go from Deshka all the way out to Iditarod. And that is not necessarily different, except for the fact that that's about 10 miles shorter. The new start location is about 10 miles less. So not a big deal, just 1 hour shorter. The real caveat is turning around and running the trail the reverse direction. So from Iditarod back home, we will experience head-on passes. Like we mentioned in the video, we train for that. So the dogs will be running down the trail and all of a sudden here comes another team. 99% of the time, they'll go right on by each other. Our dogs see a lot of that, but maybe an inexperienced team or an inexperienced lead dog might get startled and they might slow down and maybe they'll have a hard time passing, in which case you just obviously can reaffirm them and tell them, straight ahead, or you might have to stop and kind of line them out and untangle them like you saw in our video. During the Iditarod, you're not allowed to let dogs loose. That's against the rules. So you can't turn them loose. So you'd have to, hold on to them. But I don't think it's going to be a big deal. I actually think you're going to get a boost of speed if your dogs are used to it, because they're going to see another team and they're going to pick up the pace. They're going to say, oh, my buddies are out there. Now, the real tricky spot is coming back through the Alaska mountain range. It's not really meant to be traversed the other direction. There are some major hills that we'll have to learn how to. If your dogs don't know how to slow down or they don't know how to walk, you better train them to do that. Mushers can put chains. You know how you put chains on your tires to gain traction? You can put chains around the runners and you can have a little drop down loop. And when you're going down a mountain, you can drop that chains and the chains will fall down and grab the snow and help you give a little control that way.
Oh, wow.
So you can take the tug lines off of them and just have them run by their collar. So that reduces the power. The other thing that it's no secret, and any musher that is competitive, they'll do this. We're running a lot more now at the start of where the race is. So we're actually running the dogs over there and we're finishing where the race is going to finish. And it sounds like a secret, but anybody that can do that is already doing that. So that way the dogs already know the finish line. They've already seen it. So that's pretty cool. That is a slight advantage. We can't do that if the race ends in Nome. So we're using that to our advantage. Alan Moore did that a bunch the year he lost to Hugh Neff in the Yukon Quest. He lost by 2 minutes. That year he finished where the finish line is for the Yukon Quest almost every training run. And then he ended up coming back and winning the Yukon Quest. So that was a big positive for them. So hopefully that answers the question.
Okay, so Ken Cutney wants to know, do you have a favorite dog and do the other dogs know who it is?
Ooh, asking the tough questions.
Yeah.
Ken.
So for those of you that don't know, Ken Cutney is a big friend of ours, and
He was in the slideshow.
Yeah, he was in the slideshow. He's a big supporter of the team. He's been boosting dogs and helping us for years now. So my favorite dog is the one I am interacting with at the time. So
That's a good answer.
Good answer. Good answer. Okay, so there's a couple questions here about let's see. What's the hottest or warmest it can get? What's the coldest it can get on the race?
So over our experience, we've done 9, and we have seen temperatures as cold as 65 below zero, which is as miserable as it sounds. It's really cold. And come here, Motorhead. Come on up. Come on, Motorhead. Come on. This guy was in that race when it was 65 below zero. We played dress up. We put the coats on them, and I put hand warmers everywhere I can to keep us warm. Sometimes the hand warmers don't even work at those temperatures. 65 below and 40 degrees above zero. that was in the same race. So it was a 100-degree swing.
Wow. Wow. Okay, so we keep going. We got a lot of questions. We were scheduled to go till 8. We are able to go past that. It's about 13 minutes away. So we're going to try to get through as many questions as we can. We know a lot of people are actually, we're rocking this Zoom. There's a lot of you guys on here, which is super awesome. Marcus Stanfield wants to know, and this is I'm highlighting this question because as your sister, I want to help support you too. Marcus Stanfield wants to know, how can we become boosters?
Oh my gosh. If this is the same Marcus Stanfield, I went to college with that guy, and I'm pretty sure it's the same guy. So, well, you just get a hold of us, and I mean, thank you very much for inquiring. I mean,
He said it is. It's the guy you went to college with.
Yeah, just reach out to us. If you go to our website, we've got a team email, and you can email us, and we can talk to you there. Yeah, so I mean, that takes us back to Mansfield. I mean, we were in college together at the Ohio State University of Mansfield.
So go to the website and you can email. It's
Yep.
info at Alaska Husky.
And Liz or I will answer the
Okay.
email and let you know.
Yeah, there's like a little button on the website that says join the pack, and that'll take you right to all the information about the booster program.
Okay, and we'll, I think we're gonna send you, yep, I think we just posted the link to your website. And, okay, so Sophia Meyer wants to know, what types of dogs do you like as a musher? And I'm not sure if obviously we're talking about Alaskan Huskies, but maybe she wants to know what are the personalities or what types of dogs is what she's asking.
So if we could back it up just a little bit. So the breed that we use is Alaskan Huskies. And for those of you that don't know, that's a non-registered breed. So it's not a purebred dog with the American Kennel Club, like a Siberian Husky or a Malamute. Those are purebred dogs, and those are also sled dogs. Our Alaskan Husky is not a pure breed. And so that's our dog of choice. We think that because they're not purebred, that gives them a lot of strengths. Not that purebred dogs don't have strengths, but
like a genetic edge or something.
Yep. So we're not adhering to, let's just say, curly tails. That's not a breed standard that we want. And if that's something that people want, then obviously they're only going to breed for curly tails. So we're more so interested in, first and foremost, their health. If they are not healthy, we will spay and neuter them. And that sounds like an obvious answer, but think about it in terms of what's their lifespan? What's their working lifespan? Do they have arthritis? Do they have cataracts? Do they have a weak appetite? Are they always skinny? Just if they can't pass those simple things, then they're out of the gene pool. And so in theory, the breed gets healthier and healthier. We don't care about floppy or pointy ears. So we want to see attitude. Are they personable? A lot of this stuff we can teach the dog, but genetics does play a huge part. So we want dogs that are outgoing, happy, they like what they do. I mean, obviously, but those, and then also you end up getting a dog that you want to spend time with. So if the dog that you want is a bulldog or a chihuahua or whatever, if those are the dogs you want to spend your life with, then you get that dog. Because when you're racing, it's not necessarily about racing. It's just about spending time with dogs you like. And so we are breeding for dogs that we like to spend time with.
And how many years do these dogs run? What's their kind of working lifespan? What's the average age? That's a question.
Yeah, that's a good question. Outside of racing, they can run in harness well past 11, 12, 13 years old. I got on Facebook the other day, part of one of our groups, and I saw a 15-year-old in harness running along, happily just trotting along. And so assuming if they're healthy and they can do it, they can run in harness. A lot of people, they fear the worst when you say the dog retires. They say, oh my gosh, well, what do you do with them? that doesn't mean their life is over. That just means we
Give them
retire.
to your sister.
Yeah, we give them to your, yeah. Thank goodness we have a big family. We're still, yeah. So, you know, racing anywhere from 1 all the way up to 10, and their prime might be 3 to 7. But we always like to say, you know who Brett Favre is, or people have heard of LeBron James and Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. You know, these players skipped college or they played past their prime. And we have dogs like that. We have dogs that can play in the Iditarod at the age of 10 because we've done it. You know, Fuse was a 10-year-old.
And then those dogs you use, obviously the elder dogs in the group or the more mature or seasoned, you use them to train and lead up the puppies, right?
Yes. Yeah, that's a huge part. It's not just racing. There's a young group coming up, and some of the dogs in their prime, they might not have the patience to run with a 12-month-old puppy that's chewing and nipping and playing. And so my old man Rebel, you know, he's in double duty right now. He's training for the race team, but almost every other day he runs with the 7-month-old puppies because he just is okay with a puppy growling at him, and he says, yeah, whatever, let me show you how it's done. And he'll just run right along. So yeah, the old dogs help the young ones.
I'm scrolling through these questions. I'm trying to kind of keep them on a line here, and I recognize some people. So Luke wants to know, how's the story litter doing? And he says he also hopes you guys are doing great, and he can't wait to see you.
And how you doing, Luke? Story litter is awesome. For those of you that don't know, Luke and I work together in Juneau. Luke knows all of these dogs. Story litter is doing great. Saga, Ballad, Legend, Fable, Odyssey, Epic. They are fantastic. All of them are in the training program. All of them are going to either make the Cusco team or the Copper Basin team. And they're all still vying for a position on the Iditarod. So Casey did a fantastic job with them last year, and we're trying to integrate them into the main team. We're just trying to figure out if they're going to make the team.
Yeah, I know that every year people are so excited to hear who made the cut, right? They're looking for who's in. It's like the playoffs.
It's really difficult. Yeah, it's really difficult because we're not fielding 2 teams. So normally that's 32 dogs when it was Michael Baker and I. Then it dropped to 14, so it was 28 for Casey and I. Now it's just 1 team, so only 14 can make it. So that's just the way sports are. Not everybody gets to make the cut.
Yeah. Okay, so something a little off topic. Let's see, where did it go? Our cousin, I'm calling her out here, wow. Sarah Stoll.
Oh.
You've already answered one of her questions, which was how cold was it that you had to race in? But 2, speaking of the playoffs and football and sports, just to preface this, a lot of you probably know, but half of our family is Michigan fans. And so I don't think Sarah is, though. But if Ohio State played Michigan this past season, would they have won by 49 points or more than 49 points?
Oh, man, that is brutal. I think it would probably be more. They would probably win by more than 49. Sorry. As Ohio State fans, we don't want to see Michigan not do well. We want to see them.
No, that's true.
I want to see them, 11-0 when they come to town, and then we're going to give them their 1 loss. But we hope
that's
Michigan
true.
finds their groove and gets back into it. And they're doing really good in basketball, so we give them props. But Ohio State all day.
Okay. We'll pull up another family member because we see there's so many people we know on here and family fans. There's boosters, and then there are a lot of people I don't recognize, but I'm super excited that they're here. So Robbie says, "Are your sled dogs mostly male or female? And does it matter who it is?"
I can do rapid fire too to make sure we answer most of these. So
okay.
Good question. Me personally. Us personally, we don't think it matters, male and female. There are differences, obviously, in the gender. Usually the males are a little bigger. Usually the females mature faster. Sorry, boys. But no, as far as performance, we give them all a fair shakedown. we have about 60% are female and 40% are male. That's just the way they were born. We're not hoping or leaning towards one or the other. It's nice to have a balance.
Okay. There's a follow-up. Carly has a follow-up to her question about advice transitioning from Australians. She's our girl from Australia. Is Australian sprint racing. She said, I think this is an important point to make. She says, I'm wanting to learn more about this, but she's concerned regarding ethical kennels and lack of experience. So what I'm assuming, if with lack of experience, she doesn't want to get wrapped up in a kennel that may not be up to her standards. And Lee asked, that matches up with this, are kennels regulated in Alaska?
Yeah, those are really good questions. Kennels are regulated. I don't remember the number. If you want to have more than 3 or 4 or 5 dogs, just for example. Can you guys still see me, Katie?
Yep.
Okay. So if you want to have more than a few, I don't remember the lower number for the dogs. You have to have a kennel license. So you apply for a kennel license. The inspector of our borough. We don't have counties in Alaska. We have boroughs, which operate basically the same thing. So the animal control officer will make an appointment and come here and inspect everything and make sure that our dogs are healthy, that the place is clean. Do the dogs have an adequate living space? Do the dogs have access to water all the time? Simple stuff that the
regulation.
How do you dispose of the dog waste? Do you have an area for that? The most important thing that maybe people do not think about is we have to have an evacuation policy in place. So they want to see that. What happens if there's an earthquake? We have tons of earthquakes here in Alaska all the time that go under the radar, but we feel them a lot. We have a lot of wildfires. And so if there's a forest fire going on here, how do we safely get out of here? Dogs in Alaska, most of them are on chains, and that's usually where people fear the worst. They think just because a dog is outside on a chain, they might be not taken care of to a certain standard. But I think that's maybe painting with a broad brush. Just because they're on a chain doesn't mean they have a bad life. The same goes as just because a dog lives on a couch doesn't mean it has a good life. That's just my opinion. The point is you need to get them off the couch or off the chain and go do things with them, teach them stuff, play with them, making sure they're eating healthy. So the chain acts as a leash. It has 2 snaps, one on each end. So if there's a forest fire, we can take the chain off the post, and now the dog can come with us safely, and we can put them in the truck, and we can take them somewhere and chain them to a chain link fence or a tree, and they're kind of self-contained. So that chain is actually really important.
And I would guess that too, with so many dogs, you can see what their waste looks like, right? Which if they're all just kind of free running in a pen, you don't know whose poop is whose. So that's kind of, yeah.
Yeah, if you have, a lot of people will say, well, why don't you just turn them loose and put them in a pen? Well, we actually do that. But when I go to bed at night, I don't dare have 4 or 5 of my males hanging out in a pen by themselves, because it's like the teacher leaving the classroom. They'll get along, but every once in a while, one of them will become territorial because they're just dogs. And so like what Katie said, if you have 5 in a pen and there are only 4 stool samples, which one has a blockage? Which one ate a stick or a rock or something? You don't know. But if you have 1 dog at their house, you know when they went to the bathroom last, and you know what it looks like. So it's a very responsible way to take care of the dogs. So getting back to her question, there's nothing wrong with having dogs outside. There is something wrong with abuse, and there is something wrong with neglect, and there is something wrong with maybe somebody who brings on too many dogs and they don't have the finances to take care of them. So
yeah. So if she's coming over here, is there a place she can go to see ratings of kennels, or is there a standard somewhere where you can find that information out, or is it just kind of word of mouth? Because I think that's what she said. She's worried about with lack of experience. If I want to go sign up for a kennel, how do I know it's a good one?
That's a good question. I don't know if there's a rating. I don't know if there's like a rate, like rate my professor, in college. I don't know if there's a rate my dog musher. But again, she should just reach out to us and email us, and I can get you in touch with some very, very professional and well cared for dogs. And we police our own. Side note: if there are mushers that are not taking care of their dogs and it's an abuse, then we've repossessed dogs before. We've taken them and homed them. We're all for good dog care.
Okay, so what did you want to be when you were younger?
I wanted to be a professional baseball player, a police officer.
Really?
Yeah. I wanted to go into the military. Yeah, I did not think about dog mushing.
Jim DePrez. I hope I'm saying that right. He's our teacher on the trail, right? For those of you who follow Iditarod. He wants to know, how is Cool Cat doing?
Oh, she's right here. Can I show you?
Don't move too much.
Yeah.
Okay. I hope our connection will stay with us, but.
Cool Cat.
Hi, Cool Cat.
Cool Cat. Liz can answer this one. She's doing great.
Yeah. Cool Cat is my running buddy. And so we run the trails together all the time, just free running. I'm running, she's running by my side. She stays right by my side. We did 7 miles the other day, and she is loving it. She's a total house dog now. So I've taught her a few tricks. She knows how to sit and shake and lay down and all that fun stuff.
Speak.
And she's
She likes to
spoiled with
speak.
treats.
Way too much talking.
Cool Cat. Can you speak? Cool Cat.
This is a really good, it's getting a little choppy when you're moving around. But I mean, we could hear Liz. Liz has tamed Matthew's lady, Miss Cool Cat.
Well, it's good that she goes running out there with the dogs, because there are moose around the corner, and the dogs keep the moose away.
Okay. Diane Molliet. She has a good question. She wants to know, how to get food and supplies to you and the dogs during the stops on the Iditarod.
Oh, during Iditarod? Okay, so beforehand, we will package up dog kibble, dog meat. So we buy it in bulk. We buy about 50 bags of dog food at a time, and we buy several hundreds and hundreds of pounds of beef and liver and tripe. And Volko wants to say hi.
Hi, Volko.
And so we'll just package everything up. We have a big old meat bandsaw that we can cut, and that all goes into bags, and then it's shipped out waiting for us at the checkpoints on Iditarod. So usually that stuff is already staged. And they have an army of volunteers that will clean everything up and send stuff back.
Speaking of Iditarod, what are they going to do for the ceremonial start?
As of now, it's up in the air. They have it. Actually, I should say, as of now, it's planned to start in Anchorage. They're not encouraging anyone to come out, but they're going to go for it. So
okay, so it's still out what the decision is.
I'm guessing that they will cancel, but as of now, it's still on. I don't know.
Okay, Liz, this one's for you. 2 questions. Well, the first one is, what are your race plans? We hear you're getting into racing and mushing. Put the makeup away. You're beautiful. You don't need it, but you look beautiful. But what are your race plans? Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much for asking.
A couple people are asking.
Yeah, well, I'm still very green, and I'm just I'm learning little by little. I took out an 8-dog team the other day, actually, with Cool Cat in lead, which was awesome. And so, I'm still getting my footing. I think I would like to try a race and just see how it goes. Probably not this winter, because our race schedule got rearranged. So I was hoping to get into one this winter, but it's looking like maybe next winter.
Yeah.
Okay.
We had a 150-mile race for her slated the weekend of February 12th, but the Cusco got pushed back. So Liz and I are both going to go to Cusco.
Yeah, the Cusco is that same weekend, so we got double booked. So
we can't do it.
We got to go to the Cusco.
There are no other races available.
Yeah, it's kind of limited this year. Not a lot of races to choose from.
Yeah. What about 2-legged dogs? Pets. Any two-legged additions anytime soon?
Oh, are you talking?
Awkward as your sister. That's a question people want to know.
Do we plan to
Yeah,
have some human pups?
a litter of humans.
Yeah, a litter. How's your two-legged litter? What's that look
Yeah.
like? Is that coming?
We are not pregnant right now, and we want to have kids someday.
But we do want to have kids.
Okay. I think mom and dad are on this, so mom's probably smiling right now.
Oh, I've been teasing dad and mom about all that stuff. So
He keeps
Okay, so
about it.
it's 7 after 8. I'll try to wrap up here. Let's take a couple more questions. I'm scrolling through, and I apologize if I missed your questions. And actually, I have somebody asked if we can see Two-Face. Yeah, if I can get her over here, I'll show her to you. She's a retiree with Matt, and I was lucky enough to adopt her when she retired, and she's been with me for 5 years, and I love her to death. Okay. How have your skills from your college degree or degrees at Ohio State helped you? And this is from Kristen and Kristen Trainer Mitko. She's from the Mansfield campus, so she sends a hello from everyone at Mansfield.
Hey, good question. That's an interesting question because obviously I graduated with a fine arts degree in photography. And I use photography all the time. I don't necessarily have a point and shoot camera, but my iPhone has great camera quality. And so I can document what we're doing. And most of it is unfiltered because I'm just kind of like a photo snob. There are a few things that I like to change with the bell or the
vignette.
The vignette, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is, an old darkroom technique anyways. Going to college has shaped me in many ways. It helped give me a work ethic. There are many people that have positively shaped me to be just a better person. And even though I might not be directly using my fine arts degree while I'm racing per se, but I think Ohio State, we have drawn upon that organization. A lot of universities might not be as professional or as, it's a brand. It's like Nike or Reebok or something like that. And we want to be like Ohio State in that sense. We want 17th Dog. When people think of that, they say, oh my gosh, they have such amazingly happy dogs. They take such good care of them. Their boosters and their sponsors are so nice. We want it to be an amazing organization. We just don't want to have dogs just to have dogs. We want to be a very successful organization. And so I think Ohio State has really helped me kind of look at it from that angle.
Yeah, well, and you're a good representative of Ohio State. I know our family is a big Buckeye family, and I would say that being, I know a lot of people, and I know that you are a good representative of Ohio State. So you want to be like them, and they're proud of you. I know that. Okay. So Maddie, she wants to know, have you ever fallen off your sled?
Oh, it's such a good question.
It's cousin Maddie. That's Allie's daughter.
Hi, Maddie. Hey, Allie. Oh yeah. Okay. So yeah, I have fallen off my sled. Now I get it. Yeah. Last Iditarod, I was falling asleep accidentally, standing up, falling asleep, and there was a big branch.
Oh, that's right.
Clothesline.
Yeah.
And I got flung over the back seat of the sled. And when I hit the ground, I woke up and started running. And thankfully it was uphill. And so the dogs weren't going that fast. And I was able to kind of say, whoa, and they stopped and I grabbed onto the back of the sled. That's the only time I've ever been separated from my sled. Most of the time when we fall, we train ourselves to hold on really tight.
Mm-hmm.
Good question, Maddie.
How many dogs actually total are in your kennel? I'm not sure if you said that in the beginning, but how many dogs are in your kennel?
53, including the 7-month-old alphabet litter and including the retirees like Vocal, Sean, Cool Cat. Well, Vocal's not retired. Sean White and Cool Cat.
Okay. Let's take one more. I'm scrolling through. Oh, this is a good one. Susie wants to know, what was the fur on your coat made from in that video? It's so beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. That's a really beautiful ruff that was made by our friend who, is an expert seamstress. She it's 3 types of fur. So the first one is Wolverine. Sorry, Wolverine. That is very standard. That's very standard for a fur ruff. You always have Wolverine right next to your face because the frost from your breath doesn't stick to the Wolverine hair. So it's nice and soft on your face. The next one, actually in that ruff, it's beaver, then Wolverine, and then wolf. And the wolf is always usually on the outside because it has the longest guard hairs. And when you roll your fur forward like that, it can cut down on the wind flow. So beaver, Wolverine, and wolf.
Okay. So, is there anything that you or Liz want to say before we wrap up and say goodnight?
Oh, well, I'm sorry we didn't answer all the questions. Really thankful that people are just so interested. Do you have something to say?
Yeah, thank you for your interest in supporting our team. Thanks for being the 17th dog.
And we really do owe a lot of people many thanks because they help us in so many ways. There are so many people that send us cookies for my drop bags. I mean, there are so many people that send us Christmas cards and they want to know how the dogs are doing. We have people send us dog biscuits, and I've got school kids that send blankets for the dogs to sleep under. So this is exactly what 17th Dog represents, and we couldn't do it without you. Please check our Facebook and Instagram and our website for any new updates. And we'd like to say hi to Mr. and Mrs. Baker and Mr. and Mrs. Muringer. Your children are safe. They're doing great. They work hard. And we're thankful that you let them come up here to Alaska. But yeah, we love you guys. And thanks so much for joining us.
Bye, guys. Thank you. Wow, that was awesome. I'm so happy we can do this. Obviously, I'm biased. I love my brother very much and my sister-in-law. And I feel really special that we can offer this from the Alumni Club. So there's just so everyone knows, we are going to still send out that link for the video. And here in the next maybe 2 weeks, we'll be able to also host this event. So if you know people who weren't able to come, it will be up at some point. When we close this video out, you automatically are going to be redirected in your browser to a survey. It's a real short survey. We really would love the feedback. We're a real tiny club, and we can always use feedback from people to see what we're doing right and maybe what we need to work on. Also, just upcoming, we have an event next week coming up. It's actually being presented by the New Albany Lecture Series, which is New Albany, Ohio. And it's on January 27th. That's a Wednesday. It's 7 p.m. It's free, and it's on civil discourse and debate, and it's hosted by Colleen Marshall. So we've been able to be added to that as a co-host, and so we're really excited to be able to present that. I think, other than maybe saying hello to Miss Two-Face, my retiree. That's for Barbara. You say hi to Barbara? I know. Oh, say hi. Okay. Other than that, I think we're really good. And get a hold of us if anybody is interested in connecting with Matt if you can't figure out how to do that. And we'll talk with you soon.